Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the number one Warcry podcast on the internet, unless you know of any other podcasts, in which case they might be good as well. Right. We're here. We have more wild dice. I think we're episode 6, maybe,
I think
possibly.
it's 6. It might be 7. I don't
It might be
actually
6 or
I
7.
think it's 6. Yeah.
Something like that. As always, I am here today. We are here today. We have the wonderful, the luxurious beard himself of War Games on Toast.
Me? What?
Yeah.
Mine's overgrown and crazy. I'll take it though.
I mean, yours is bigger.
Our superior beard.
Yeah, it is the bigger one, and the less grey, I think. So
that's true.
You're winning
Despite
on two
being
fronts.
substantially older. I'm much older than you.
And we have the ever magnificently groomed Lord Phylax. Warcry UK now. That's exciting.
I am so tired. But yes, it's fun. The new channel's open. We've got a couple of videos up. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Very good. And I'm here as well.
The trauma of video editing and the length of time it takes to make even a small video.
Like minimal editing as well. Like it's actually insane. Like to basically mention this, like Toast is super fast in editing these, chat. And I had a very similar situation where I just had a podcast and it was recorded correctly, so the sound was pretty good. I didn't have to do massive things with it, and yet it took me like 2 weeks. So that tells you how good that man is at editing.
At the last Wild Dice, we finished recording. I think it was at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was the video was done and ready to go. By the time these two woke up, I worked through the night for that one to go out on time on the next day. It takes time. It's nightmarish. This one is not getting that treatment though. This one will take. This will be like a week after or so. I think maybe after I record it. It's not quite so urgent. Maybe we'll see. But,
everything is urgent.
Everything is out right now. It's already live.
Yes. If you're listening to this, it is already out. Congratulations, you've joined us.
So a lot's happened in the past. What has it been 2 months or whatever since the last Wild Dice? A lot's happened, and we're going to talk about some of it. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but some of it we're going to talk about.
Shall we start with like all the new stuff that's come out?
That's a good idea.
So KO, Warcry Warband. That isn't a Warcry Warband.
Yes.
It's never been a Warcry Warband. So,
is it really a Warcry Warband? It doesn't.
So I'm sure that Athan has his own like reasoning for this. For me, the arguments were the models are very pretty. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options for the leaders and for all the units. They all have like their own weapons and they have several weapons to choose from. And I'm like, have you ever seen an Arknaut company? Have you ever seen like any KO unit that has 47 weapons on the sprue? Do you think like there's 4 units, 5 units in KO, and we have like 30 profiles because every unit has like 30 weapons. So that argument doesn't work. And the argument that and then there's the other argument of there's only 5 of them. So either they would be more powerful than individual Stormcast, which is wild, or there would be a 10-man warband, so it would have 2 sprues. And in that case, they would have to be relatively weak.
Cheaper than Hunters of Quality to do that.
I mean, hang on. Like, other models would. Like, I haven't had a massive look at any of them because I don't look at fake dwarfs, right? So it's not my thing. So don't they all have balloons?
Yes.
Yes.
Then they should surely like
they don't have full balloons. They have smaller balloons. They have
okay, so they're not like movement 12 flying like machine gun.
No. I would assume like movement 6 type of deal.
Because if they were all like flying like the balloon boys, like 200 points a model ish on average, like for a 5-man warband, totally checks out potentially.
But this is the thing, right? Okay. We know how Games Workshop does points for and designs their models, right? They look at the model. Sorry, not designs their models. Designs the rules for their models. They look at the models and they say, okay, this looks about right given what the model is. So these are lightly armored balloon guys. We know what normal armored balloon guys look like, and we know what basic dwarves look like. So at the very minimum, these guys are going to have to be some kind of relatively fast moving for Sky Dwarves. Relatively fast moving, more than 12 wounds they would have to be, because your basic dwarf is 12 wounds. And if there are 5 guys, it means that each one is sitting at something like 180 points, plus a bit more for the leader, let's say.
Yeah.
Because there are 5 of them, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, plus adds up to 1,000. So if you look at the closest analogy for something produced recently by Games Workshop, you know the Reclusians? They've got the prosecutors.
Yeah.
Those guys are 180 points, movement 10, fly, with a range attack, with a melee attack, toughness 4, 15 wounds. So if they were going to do that, this is basically a box of prosecutors in terms of stats and in terms of points. The only problem is that an entire warband of prosecutors is garbage and it falls apart. Without having ridiculous abilities, the warband would just fall over. And remember, the last 5-man warband that they produced was the Gorgon Warpack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Black Talons, and they also fall over, and they're substantially tougher. At like 25, 30 wounds a pop, right? So.
Yeah. I think people are just clutching at straws, really, and they're like, maybe. We haven't heard anything from Warcry in a while. They are repurposing Warcry warbands into stuff. And everything that comes out for Age of Sigmar,
it also doesn't line up with like our wild Dicean theory that all the warbands for Warcry were already planned, were ready to go basically before the game even released, and that's backed up by the battle trait update in the last set we got, being wildly out of date for faction names, all that nonsense, right? So like it doesn't add up with that like long running and pushed by us theory. That's definitely correct, right?
On the other hand, we are fart sniffing luminaries, so you know.
We are luminaries. That is very true.
We do know everything, and our farts smell like roses and gooseberries. That's how it works.
Well, let's put it this way. The battle trait system would have had to be written at least 2 years ago, because that's when Flesh Eater Quartz was released at the beginning of last year, right? So it would have had to be written at least, let's say, argument's sake, 3 to 6 months before that. So we're looking like 2 years ago, and it's and that's it. There's been nothing since when was the last box released? September.
The last box release was a good while, and we've heard nothing for about 10 months. It is something like October.
Let's say September for argument's sake. It's highly unlikely that Games Workshop will sit on that kind of product. If it was supposed to be for Warcry and it was part of their release schedule, they'll just sit on it for like a year.
And also keep in mind, like, why would they care if it's in a Warcry box or a Age of Sigmar box? That's one of the things that I get annoyed when people talk negatively about Warcry warbands being in spearheads, and I kind of understand it, because if GW is looking at what sells, to begin with, those warbands aren't being sold, so that's one thing. But also, I would prefer they stuck them into spearhead boxes that are getting sold. Now everyone has a Warcry warband, and they also have enough models to make a bespoke, compendium. So like, we're online only anyway, so like I don't see the problem. I see it as a positive, but
like, assuming we get an FAQ that makes this like the online only thing an actual positive, and I'm very hopeful we actually will at some point, and therefore it'll become a positive overall.
If
We'll see these in Warcry eventually anyway. Like, if
Look, they're the
updates
right
are to
size.
come in the future, like they'll either be a blade bond or they'll just be added as just like flying Arcanaut little newbie guys, whatever. It's not how it'll be added. Like everything eventually gets added. So
if they continue, if there is an FAQ coming, A, I'll be very happy, and B, I'm gonna be fucking insufferable. You're hearing it here, chat. Like, I'm gonna go every single Reddit thread of the last 6 months is like, why are people so irrational? Like, this game is dead. Oh my god! Like, why won't people get over it? And I'm like, I'm gonna be like, here's the link to the FAQ, mate.
Yeah. We've been pushing the idea out in FAQs on the way for a long time, and we've been proven incorrect technically because one hasn't arrived yet. However, when we are eventually proven correct, fuck you all. We were always right at that point. Also, have we seen? I'll be putting this second one in the corner as well, along with the fly dwarves. The glory of the new corn stuff. Have you seen how beautiful they are? They're gorgeous. I've never seen models quite so beautiful. I forgot they're called already. The new weird skull faced
right. Okay, so
corn models. They're beautiful.
I thought you were talking about the Deathbringer, and I was like, yes, the Deathbringer is sick. What are you talking about?
You're legally blind now, right? Is that what we're saying?
Have you seen their absolutely beautiful faces? Have you seen the glory of the little tiny little bulldog? It's awesome.
Okay, so the baby warhound is great, and it's done no wrong, and leave it alone. But you cannot convince me that those models were meant to be painted red with like skulls painted as skulls, or some sort of weird, some sort of weird specific paint job, and they forgot to tell the team, and the team was like, just paint them like people, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Demetrius, you finish, and then
I don't. I like it's. It's exactly what I was talking about. I was like, one of my arguments for that KO team being like good is, hey, they've just gotten better at sculpting, and then we see this today, and there goes my argument. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's someone new. Maybe they're just training up people. Like, I don't know. But
maybe they're just continuing the trend of all corn models looking like shit.
What do you mean?
They're all terrible.
What corn models are terrible? Well, hold up. Hold your horses.
Every single one of them are terrible. I'm dying on this hill.
Apart from some characters. Absolutely not. All the Warcry warbands, all the Underworlds warbands were looking great. All the Warcry like the Karanak, it's a weird concept, I'll give you that.
The claws of Karanak are the only good looking corn models.
But they look good. The Korgorath and his tiny little butt is adorable. Even if his face is like really confusing. What
is saying is that he's got a thing for big buff guys. That's basically what he's saying.
But even for like big buff
all
guys,
they are. It's an entire.
There's better looking big buff guys in other factions. Like, they're the worst looking big buff guys. And to me, it's large because the color schemes are all horrible. They're all just like really pasty ginger kids, and like.
That's not how I painted them. Yeah, okay, I can see that. It's fine. I'll send you a picture to put up of my my warband.
I absolutely will.
Very nice.
I
can't wait for the opposite of that.
All corn models aren't bad. All fantasy corn models for Age of Sigmar, Games Workshop has a problem, right? If you look at 40k, you've got the Corn Warband for Kill Team, the Goremongers, I think that's what they're called. Yeah. The robot legs, they look great. You look at Necromunda, you've got the choppy dudes with what are they called? The one I keep on wanting to convert. Which one?
Goliath? No.
No, not the Goliath. No. Let me find it.
It's just some combination of gore, blood, and slaying. I think I know where you're coming from. I think the Blood Warriors are great. I think the what are they called? Right, one sec. Warcry. Right. let's
The Corpse Grinder Cult Gang.
Oh, okay.
Those
They
guys.
sound cool.
They are amazing.
I am putting them up as well. I'm looking at myself. As we speak, I am Googling them. Corpse Grinder Cult. Professional production as per usual.
Is that's
yeah.
Necromunda, right?
That's
It is.
Necromunda.
Like,
It's
The
Yes.
dudes with the masks,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not so much about the Bane guys at the back, but the
Yeah,
guys
they're
with the
weird.
helmets and
Yes.
the proper armor
Yeah,
look
that-
amazing. Look fantastic.
that's
pretty cool, actually.
that's really the problem, because like Blood Reavers are fine, Blood Warriors are great. I love Blood Warriors. And then the problem is the Skull Reapers, Wrathmongers, and all of that just kind of melds together.
Yeah.
So, and then you have some models like the Bloodstoker, which I'm like, what is this guy doing here? Like that.
So
that
the
that guy's
Bloodstock, he's got like his arms in the air with like whips, right? He looks like an absolute little weirdo. He looks like a Iron Golem's amateur on stilts.
who the Bloodstoker.
Yeah, right. Isn't he the guy with the whips?
Yes.
His arms,
Well,
his
the
arms
one
in
whip.
the air, like fucking full on, like
He's
flexing.
got one whip, and he's got a sword stuffed in the stump. So I don't. It's a weird model. Whereas on the other hand, the Bloodsecrator, like holding that big massive corn symbol and having like the fact that they all have like ponytails are not ponytails and they're actually like someone's not ribcage spine is just, I just love it so much.
You know what I hate about Games Workshop egg model design, and I've always hated it from when I was little, right? The obsession with fucking top knots.
Yeah.
Everything's top knots, right? Like, especially in 40k. I can't stand it. They all look hideous. I cut them off. I make all my guys bald because I cannot stand the top
Fair.
knot fascination with 40k. Also, as a side tangent, Games Workshop, apparently, I am judging Age of Sigmar with a big brush. Yeah, I've never played it. Big brush. Games Workshop can't make corn for shit in Age of Sigmar because they're awful. They don't. They're the least interesting god in Warcry. Like, demons are dreadful. Like, yeah, the humans are like they're
Yes.
good, but they're boring as all hell. Like,
What do you mean the
Claws of Karanak, dreadful. They can't do.
All right, Corn's entire shtick is running forward and hitting people with his sword or axe or
They
hammer or
don't
whatever.
even do
Like,
that
that's
well.
it.
some
the most
some of us
part.
like that actually.
I know you
Sure,
do.
but everyone else does it.
Yeah.
Well, not everything has to appeal to everyone. No, I was gonna say, like, I liked what they did with the latest, like, Underworld's Warband, which
Yeah.
not the latest, not the one that's the latest of the ones that have been released. The one that has like the mini Korgorath, the what was it called? I have it here. The Gore
Isn't that
Chosen of
Drum?
Drum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Oh,
though
yeah,
I thought,
that's really old.
yeah, even though I thought Drum was an interesting direction, like the Gore Hulk, very fun with his weird like neck thing, and then Skullgrinder Herax being our dad bod king.
Is pretty good.
So-
It's a good-
Fire Man, the guy's on fire.
I do enjoy that warband for corn. I think they are like
Right.
I was very harsh on all models. And those models are actually pretty good. I quite like them.
Yeah, Garrick's Reavers
will
are
admit.
actually pretty decent as well. Like Targor is one of my favorite models. Targor's, you're not gonna like him because he's got the top knot, but he's the one that's just sitting in the front like which is me on a tournament. But yeah, and even the Magor's Fiends, it's the most boring of all of them, but they're still Blood Warriors, so they're pretty decent, and they've got the punch daggers, which is like such a stupid weapon. But I don't mind it because it's cool.
Yeah,
Do
that's fair.
you want to hear why I really dislike this Warband?
Which one?
Right. The new one.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Go right ahead with those.
I did not read the article. I just looked at the models. And I thought, okay, I can get on board with this because here is a group of Khorne warriors who undergo ritual scarification. They cut their lips up to make them look more skull-like because he's the Lord of Skulls.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I can get behind this. This might actually be an interesting piece of background. But no, they're just a bunch of dudes that Khorne mutates them a little bit. And that's it. So even like their background is boring. You've got guy with big arm, his strong arm and his not so strong arm with the axe. That pose has been done 1,000 times before. Yes, I've seen Nurgle models with that pose. I've seen other Khorne models with that pose in 40k. What is it? I think it's the Nurgle plague zombies, whatever they're called. There's a dude literally with a pickaxe with a big arm. Mean Stealers have got that, but like everyone has that pose. And it's like, okay,
Zondara's. I'm sure Zondara's zombies have one of those poses as well.
Oh yeah, Pick. It's literally called Pick.
Has it? Yeah.
Has that pose with the big arm. and the thing.
I don't think his arm is bigger. I think it's just how he's sitting because he's like pulling up. So
he's supposed to be mutated. If you read the thing, Khorne has been mutating them into like weird and grotesque forms. And I look at those models and I don't see weird and grotesque forms. I just see dodgy skull face.
Right? Yeah, that's
big
I mean,
he's
got like a spike and things like that. But yeah, no. Now that you mention it, the rest of them don't look particularly.
Yeah, they could have gone the ritual scarification route, put scars all over their bodies and stuff, and then with the thing, and then you paint them up so that they got like face paint or whatever. No,
if you were going for they're being mutated, like where are the horns? They have to have horns. Like, because what they would be mutating towards, I would assume, is
a bloodletter.
Is a bloodletter, exactly. So, like, what? You know what?
They're boring.
I really want, like, you know how Kill Team brought in Beastmen in space, and it's the coolest shit ever. Like, I would have loved to see Khorne Beastmen. Bring back Khorne Gore. Just have a bunch of, because Beastmen are like the most perfect embodiment of chaos that aren't like demons, which are like literal manifestations of it. Like these are like just mutation incarnate, right? Just having a bunch of just like blood crazed, like matted fur, shit stained fucking murder goats would be amazing. But they refuse to make new Beastmen, bar that one Beastmen fucking warband that you can't buy anymore. I would buy up Khorne Beast of Chaos.
What's her face? Yeah, the brainhead.
Absolutely, it'd be awesome because Beastmen are the coolest chaos stuff. Because they're not just they're not like demons are like thematically demons are just like they're just there, like they have to be the thing that they are. Like mortals are just fucking pansies who like decide to worship some fucking sky fairy, but the beasts of chaos like are just like they're just cool. They're awesome. They are just like, you know, little goat people. They're great.
It really makes me sad what they did with the Beastmen.
I've been sad for 20 years about them.
It's a game where they don't exist, so that's fine.
Wow.
Well, what else? Has anything else come out?
I don't think so.
Yes, there are 4 new models for Ideneth Deepkin.
Yes.
2 models made out of one model, 1 hero, and a big old water snake. That's the thing.
Yes, they're really cool. I love them. I would hate to paint them. Painting water is terrifying, and the fact they're all fucking surfing on like fucking turtles and shit, like it's gonna be nightmarish to one build, I assume, but also paint and make it not look terrible.
Yeah, the Oracle of the Abyss looks. It's nice to see manifestations, though. I guess.
Pretty cool. The water snake looks fantastic with the water tentacles. Looks great.
Apparently, Idneth don't. So on my Idneth how to play video, I got a bunch of comments from people saying that Idneth don't get love anywhere, so they're not particularly good in Warcry, and they don't get much attention in Age of Sigmar either. They're just sort of like released and have just sort of been a bit stagnant ever since. So it's nice to see them get some new stuff, and the new stuff does look pretty cool. Unfortunately, I would rather see this in Warcry at some point. So I can't get too excited, but I am looking forward to the potential of them making the transition to Warcry and miraculously fixing all of Idneth's issues. Or maybe our first good Idneth hero. You never know. That isn't.
I mean, that exists. The Italian king exists. What are you talking about?
Yeah, fine, okay. Reasonably priced and not Bladeborn. Okay, there you go. I'll add more qualifiers.
Okay, just calm down. Reasonably priced and not Bladeborn. What do you want? Leave him alone.
Man, Idneth. The struggle. There's something else. Back to Khorne very briefly. Apparently, all the Exalted Deathbringers and stuff have all been like axed from the book. So it is just the new one. So all the old ones no longer exist as profiles.
You're joking.
Apparently. As far as I'm aware. I saw some little rumblings of that on the new book, that a whole bunch of stuff was cut, and the Deathbringers were all cut by this new one.
Wait, that's not... Yeah, I was going to say, that's
correct.
not out yet, is it?
No. As far as I'm aware.
Oh, is it just rumor stuff?
I don't know. I saw it somewhere. I might have made it up. This happens a lot. I might have just made it up.
That's interesting. No, you didn't make it up, because I did see it somewhere. I did see something like that somewhere. But I think they were talking about how they've removed them from the shop.
Okay.
That's potentially to repackage it. I think it was the box that has a Korgus Call and the Korgoraths and the Bloodstokers and all of that. All of that is one thing.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So I don't know if they took the box off so they can sell them individually.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I've no idea. We'll have a look and put it on afterwards or something.
Speaking of...
what we're saying is that Warcry is in a better position than Khorne, because Warcry stuff has only gone online only, and Khorne stuff doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, there you go. Warcry is more alive than a whole pantheon. I'm down for that.
I'll tell you what, okay,
we're good to go.
This isn't Warcry related, but did any of you ever play Blades of Khorne in 6th Ed 40k?
No.
Okay. They were the most characterful Khorne army in the world. I played them back then, right? And what they had was a blood tally, and the idea was, as heroes died and as units died, you racked up blood points, and then you could use the blood points during the turn to summon units of demons. Essentially, is the way it went. So what I did during that thing is I had 10 units of 8 bloodletters. So 80 bloodletters, because that's important, because it's the number of Khorne. We like that. And they could all deep strike at the time. This is a wild tangent, by the way, but this is how I would want Khorne to play. They could all deep strike at the time, and you get the bloodlet hero in the unit, right? So the idea is I would throw units of bloodletters at my opponent, and just this massive meat grinder would ensue as they had to kill the bloodletters, and I was trying to kill them. But as the bloodletters died, I would get blood tally points, and as the heroes from the bloodletter units died, I would get blood tally points even more, which I would use to summon in even more units of bloodletters. And it was kind of this crazy wave assault of Khornate stuff. And you could do things like summon greater demons of Khorne if you had enough blood points, and they had a really cool axe where you could use the axe. If the guy with the axe managed to kill something, you'd have to roll a dice to see if Khorne blessed him. And if you rolled the right amount, he would mutate and then turn into a demon prince. And then he could mutate further and turn into, and like a greater demon could rip out of him. And you'd lose all these points for your guys dying. But the idea is that you wave assaulted your opponent with big burly demons. And it was really, really fun. So, but I've never ever seen Khorne be portrayed in that manner again. Like proper Khorne does not care whence the blood flows. Like if you ask me how I would design a Khorne demon faction in Warcry, for example, I would have it as this crazy wave assault warband that just runs in, chop, 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 chop. If it dies, doesn't matter, comes back. Like, bloodletters should not be tough. They should not be defensive. But offensively, they're going to splat you. So your whole thing is fighting against it is that you need to kill enough bloodletters before they take you down. Because Khorne doesn't care.
I don't know why Khorne doesn't have just universal charge and everything.
Yeah, could do.
Iron Jaws have it. Like, you know, give it to all the fucking Khorne stuff.
Well, no, you get
get him a move on, right?
Yeah, but you get the on a double bonus attack or bonus move, but that's on the
kill.
Yeah, but you need to kill a guy, right?
Hey, it's not their fault. Everyone plays either mid range or like no chat. People start playing Nobblers and Spiders again. That'll be great.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a good time. Even the Skig and True Blade, even the Skig and True Blades have that sort of like double. But like for the most part, it doesn't really work unless like your ogres who also have it, but they're like, you know, able to kill everything. So
you have to
reliably, right?
Yeah, you have to take the risk, and then when you take the risk and it doesn't work, it feels horrible.
It's a hell of a gamble.
Horrible. Yeah, sure.
When it works, though, nothing quite like it.
So that's really interesting how much stuff they've actually released the last month or so since the last episode. So,
well, I mean, they basically released like, oh, here's my new spearhead to go with the new army book, and that will have one character model, and that's basically it, right? Not everything's getting massive range updates. I think Undead were the last ones to get a big old range update, like a proper one.
Yes, they have to make. They're now Barrow Guards and Barrow Knights and Barrow Kings and shit. They're the new dragon. Ooh.
Bigger dragon.
Yeah, even bigger. One of the biggest models they do got even bigger. Yes. Again, nice. It would be nice to see those in Warcry at some point if they would bother to do it, I guess. But still, pretty cool.
There's if an FAQ is forthcoming, then I see no reason not to. But
fingers crossed. Speaking of charge, slight backstep into a tangent. Speaking of charge, there was a tournament in Poland recently, right? That what was it? What was it called?
It was called One Box. It was by the wonderful
Krakawi Volume 5 Bespoke One Box Edition, managed by the wonderful Grok. And it turns out that in a very specific format, so Gorge and Morpack aren't considered particularly good competitively because they don't have enough. They're very restrictive in a usual, like, in a more competitive scene. Turns out Gorge and Morpack in Bespoke only are insane. They more or less just walked through that. There was a bunch of them, and they came out first and third, and just went around and just went to Pound Town. Got everyone. It's great. Gorge and Morpack, do you think they'll ever be able to transition from the bespoke success into full competitive success? Or are they destined to fail in their strive for glory?
Well, I was going to say, first of all, it's not like this pack didn't have treasures, right?
No, it didn't. 2 or 3 of them, I think.
At least 2. 2 of them seem to have treasures, and as a resident Elite Warband player, like Elite works if you play a lot of games, so that you know the moves that you need to make. When you play Elite, you finish first, right? You do your moves, and then your opponent moves around you.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that your guys are where they need to be, or your guys can get where they need to be. And you need to do it at the start, and then you need to be able to survive to the next round, and then do the same thing again. So, I mean, looking at first place, Bartos is one of the people from the Warcry tournament, so a lot of experience there. makes sense that he would do so well. And that's kind of what you need. Like, elite warbands are difficult because you need to have the experience to run them. And also, Gorger is slightly more cooperative because you have that really nice charge. But if you do end up in a situation where you're very outnumbered, if your opponent manages to start stacking the damage one at a time on the right targets, you're going to start struggling. So,
yeah, the Morpack have this. They're very unga bunga, so you want to run them in start big bashing things with big sticks. But the issue is that because they're so low on toughness, everything hurts them. So even their big wound pool starts to sort of like shrink away very quickly. And their biggest weakness, bar just all being beasts, which is a massive weakness for treasure missions in general, is the fact that if you go unga bunga and you don't actually, if you go into them thinking you can just unga bunga things, you'll get split up and killed individually, and there's nothing you can do about it. And traditionally, that's how I've dealt with them, is to try and just split them up and kill them one at a time. Focus fire one, and then once one dies, it's very difficult for them to sort of like maintain momentum. Because they need them all alive to pressure the board, and everyone that dies is a massive blow at them, which is in general an elite warband issue, I guess. But yeah, I think they're very easy to kill compared to even Stormcast, who to kill an elite Stormcast warband, you've just got to kind of roll sixes, and to get through their massive toughness. But with Gorgas, just roll 4+, very fine. Which easier.
Right. It's a one box only format, right? And if you're playing one box, that format is basically a format of extremes. Okay, you've got Gorges and Quest or Soul Sworn on one side, and then on the other side you've got Hunters of Wanchi. Everything else in that format is like 7 to 9 man if you're lucky, kind of mid-range, kind of average warbands. There are a couple of gems in there, right? So there's like Crawboy's Monster Killers that are fantastic, legitimately fantastic. There's Fire Slaves, which are legitimately fantastic. Especially in that kind of format where everything is kind of mid-rangey, kind of 2-4 damage profile kind of thing. And then you've got something like Wilder Corpse Hunters, which has the Arbalista. And if you are not playing a warband that has an inherent way to either deal with a Gorger, let alone 5 of them, or an Arbalista, that's why Iron Golems are so good in a one box format, right? Because they got an ogre and no one else gets to bring an ogre. So the entire format is kind of warped around those things because everything else is just you're basically playing the same warband, right? It's in terms of how they play. You go forward, you do sure, there's a little bit of variation on the theme. Some warbands perform wildly different, but there are so many bespoke warbands. And most of them do not have answers to like Gorges or an Arbalista or whatever. So I'm not especially surprised that they did very well. Was there any Quest or Soul Sworn there?
Yep.
Yes, they came almost last.
Almost last. Okay, so I would have expected if you came to me and said, right, I'm going to run a one box format. What do you expect to win? I would say Crawboy's Monster Killers. I would say Gorges. Yeah, I would say Gorges. I would say an Arbalista, because the Arbalista can basically carry the entire game by itself, whereas the rest of the warband kind of dances around and does a whole bunch of things.
I would have said Corvus Cabal, but they completely tanked it. They came like 15th.
They could do it, but Corvus, remember, it's a glass cannon warband. Ultimately,
it's also terrain dependent.
It's one box, which means that you can't stack a couple because
like if the Shrike Talon dies, all of the Corvus Cabal's power just disappears completely.
That's true. I mean, in a one box, you've access to Spire Stalkers who are like 15 wound 4/4 2/4s. In a one box format, they're actually pretty darn good.
Yeah, but they're not beating a Gorger.
They're not beating the Gorger, that's true.
And an Arbalista will go, ha-ha! Bang! Your Shrike Talon is dead.
Turn. Until that Shrike Talon gets beaten to death by the second Gorger.
Yeah, and that's it, right? So I'm not really surprised. And the reason why they don't do as well in general constructed play is because people can bring answers to a warband of gorges, because generally 5-man
Yeah.
is not big enough to be able to do everything that you need to do during a game.
Yeah.
There have been some very good players who have taken constructed gorges, pushed them up to 6-man, which
Yeah.
seems to be kind of the limit that they can do, unless you are saying, all right, I'm going to build gorges, but in a very, very limited way. I'm going to have my clawback. I'm going to have like guy with club, and I'm basically going to run them as this kind of almost ally piece to whatever Bladeborn warband I'm going to run.
Yeah. At that point,
yeah,
you might as well just run actual ogres, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Gorgia with club is good. It's legitimately good because you can bless it up with an extra attack and it swings.
Yeah,
and it's got a charge ability and it does things.
He's very similar to a mega boss without the raw defensive stats, but he's got the same damage output and also
he's faster. Much
faster.
It's a charge and a move.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm a big fan of seeing. So Wildercore, obviously the current sort of like idea, the meta Wildercore list is abandon everything in the box and just take crossbows. I have been a defender of one box Wildercore being surprisingly competitive, and one of their not their best list by a long way, but one of their better lists is just going one box because it's actually pretty funky. So I am very glad to see it perform well in a one box format in general, but also I could see that list running pretty well in general.
But again, it will, because it's an 11-man warband with an extreme damage piece.
Yeah. And dogs. Dogs are annoying. Yeah. Everyone hates fine dogs.
Dogs are good.
Dogs are great. Farlax.
Yes.
Do you have any words of wisdom to share on Krakawi?
I think it's what we are talking about again, where matchups and player skill have a lot to do with what wins, because I would have expected Iron Golems to do really well. I'm not surprised by what did well. I am surprised that some other things didn't do as well. But again, it's one of these things. You play what you like. I also like the fact that there's bespoke tournaments. I think that that has a lot of potential to bring in people who wouldn't play on pure competitive. It's one of these things where pure competitive is what draws the most numbers, right? Because it requires a certain amount of engagement with the game, and like it or not, like matched play is what you play if you want to play. I don't want to say properly because it's going to sound bitchy, but if you want to play the most kind of balanced, everyone has a chance experience for Warcry, you play matched play, because everything's designed to do that, to give you a lot of options and to give you like decent battle packs and stuff and missions that are relatively balanced. However, whether it's doubles, whether it's narrative, whether it's something like one box bespoke tournaments, there must be alternatives that will draw in the kind of people that wouldn't be 100% comfortable playing in a match play tournament.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of narrative, and I'm gonna keep trying it to see how well it does. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this catching on, and to see this catching on with Warcry events as well. Like, I wouldn't be amiss to starting this. The only thing that I'm worried about is if people enjoy it too. Not if people enjoy it too much. You don't want to give an excuse to GW to be like, oh well, people just like bespoke, so just scrap all of Compendium. We'll do another kill team. Like, no, that's not. I don't like that. But I think there's a lot of space for people who just want to play their Warcry warbands, without getting a second box and going through all of that. So.
Yeah, I think there's a danger within a competitive community. And Warcry's community it has its casual side, But we come from like discords, and we're competitive. We attract other competitive players and viewpoints, and the idea that the competitive space typically doesn't want to have one box events or aren't interested in them because solved game, right? So people are already aware that well, these are the best warbands, these will just win is how it'll work, and it's like fair. But also, it's the best way to attract new people, and taking the lens, the eye off of just what competitive players want is always a good thing in my eyes. Because, like, sometimes competitive players keep the game alive in terms of like ongoing life of the game, but new players keep the game alive in terms of the game actually being alive and supported. And it's a hard sell going, cool, here's like 65 warbands, all this synergy and stuff. You've got to buy this, this, and this, and it's kind of weird. Or you can go, there's a box over there. Buy it, build it, play it, have a good time. This will open the door for other things. And those other things are pretty damn good. But you have an entry point somewhere, and the starter box in Warcry isn't that, to be fair. It's a bespoke box. Let's be real.
Do you mean to say that, like, if I want to get into Warcry, I can't just go and open up the first tier list video that I can find and just buy something in S tier and call it a day?
You could if you really wanted to. But I don't like tier lists. I make them.
I was going to say, would I have a good time?
Well, before we jump onto tier lists, I have a point to make about one box bespoke formats.
Of course.
I disagree. I don't think that a one box bespoke environment is the best way to bring on new Warcry players.
Ooh.
Because if you are a new player,
mm-hmm.
I mean, right, it depends on where these players are coming from. If you're coming from Warhammer Underworlds, you can't play in a one box bespoke format. If you're coming from Age of Sigmar, you can't play in a one box bespoke format unless you happen to be one of those armies that happen to have
fair,
right?
Okay.
And I think Spearhead, but they're only like 4 spearheads with bespoke warbands in them.
Yeah.
For
now.
Yeah, and so I think if you're trying to cast a wider net as possible, you are almost in a better position saying, okay, we're not going to run one box bespoke, but we're going to run a mono faction event.
Yeah,
because that allows you to grab people from all of that player base, right? And then let's say, for example, Demetrius, you ran a one box bespoke event tomorrow. I don't have a warband that I can play in that event.
Yes.
Think about it, right?
I see. No, I see your point.
Right? Because all of my staff is match play staff, and I just haven't built, I have a Gorgon Warpack, but I have 3 models from Gorgon Warpack. The rest of it is other things. Same with Hunters of One Sheet. I can't run a one box bespoke because I converted all my guys into One Sheet's claws. So I find it extremely difficult. And one of the big arguments that people who love a one box bespoke format say is, it's balanced, right? It's more balanced than basic constructed play. But we know that's not the case because there are warbands that are way better. Like you try and bring, I'm going to bring Claws of Karanak to a one box bespoke event. You think you're going to win it? No, not really.
I think with one box bespoke events, I think the good stuff are really good, obviously good, but everything else falls into like what would be the mid tier. There's nothing.
They basically do the same thing. It's the reason why.
Yeah.
But
that's fair. A lot of them are kind of like, what's really the difference between Dark Old Savages and Spire Tyrants? They're kind of the same thing. One has nets.
Sure.
And the other
they run into each other and they hit each other.
I haven't played Spire Tyrants, and I shouldn't be throwing shade on a warband I've never played. But I really like
I think there's more legs for if you're playing an intro event, just to say, all right, you're going to run mono faction. If you have I don't know, Nighthaunt, Age of Sigmar army come with your Nighthaunt warband, and you can do that, then you don't need to worry about allies. And yes, there are obviously going to be some warbands that are better than others because some have those tools that you would ally in them intrinsically.
Yeah.
Um,
I think you're on something there. Like I nearly like competitively, I don't tend to run monofaction, but when I'm like vibing on stream and stuff, or I'm just like playing games in general, I do tend to stick to just monofaction in general because I find it quite fun. And if battle traits were ever fixed to be actually fucking good, the idea of monofaction being a viable way of playing a bunch of warbands would be pretty funky. Alas, a lot of them are either forgettable, pointless, or if you're already a good warband, then your battle trait is probably like fucking busted.
some of them won the lottery with battle traits. Some didn't
Yeah.
win the lottery.
Yeah.
And some, I think, did all right out of it. There were some you wouldn't expect to be good. Like Nighthaunt has an amazing battle trait in terms of its synergy, how it wants to work now. But if that battle trait came out before the Nighthaunt update with the points decreases and the change to Frightful Touch, then it's fine. It's not that good. It happens to be that all these things happen that make the Nighthaunt battle trait amazing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, sure, a fully working battle trait system. But you would need some of those battle traits to bring the level of those bespoke warbands up to be on the same level, and to bring other ones down. Some of those battle traits would have to be wild, like ridiculous. Like let's say Claws of Karanak. We love to hate on them, right?
Oh yeah.
To bring Claws of Karanak up to the same level as Cruel Boy's Monster Killers would basically have to not have a battle trait. And Claws of Karanak would have to be like, your dogs can regenerate and you can bring them back to life, or something ridiculous like that, right?
For every Claws of Karanak model, just take down an enemy. Just take down an enemy around.
If you crit, they die. Like that's it, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like decapitating strike. Claws of Karanak crits, your opponent dies. Right? Like that's literally what it would have to be. And there is scope for that. And it is an interesting way of balancing models without having to resort to points changes.
I think
like I've always said that like Asugan True Blades, if their battle trait was literally like +1 attack, if they're within, let's say, 3 inches of each other, you don't need to change the you don't need to change the points for True Blades. Because suddenly their battle trait works, and it's like, oh, this is what I'm paying for. I'm paying for these guys to get better, and they've got like martial prowess, where he helps him out and he helps him out, and they're like bouncing off of each other like ninjas or samurais, whatever they are.
I think with like when it comes to any sort of changes, but points are the easiest things to do, because it's a quick and dirty fix that quickly adjusts the state of any given meta, right? But it's the least interesting thing to do. Changing rules, just like changing rules, making things more interesting is always the way to go. And there's a lot of warbands that aren't interesting. And like going back to Spire Tyrants very briefly, like if you compare, like what's the best battle trait in the game? Iron Jaws, probably, right?
Iron Jaws, yeah.
Iron Golems are pretty good too, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But like Iron Jaws. Spire Tyrants, so Iron Jaws is if anyone waits, you gain movement, which is insane. Which functionally means no one fucking waits, and you remove an action from the game. Which is
you get to wait, but they don't. Is the answer?
Spire Tyrants, their leader hits other leaders or something on a 4+. Ooh. Now that compares.
No, that's not great. That's one model gets to be fine.
Yeah,
that's comparable, isn't it? You can hit on a 4+.
Do you know who has something better than that on a double? Splintered Fang. They get to wound on 3s with a double.
And they get to do that for free with their battle trait. They get free poison attack every turn. What? That's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah, the battle traits are absolutely wild. They just made shit up and stuck it, and this will be fine. It's awful.
There's only so many hours in the day.
There is, that's true. But tier lists, though, we dabbled on tier lists at one point, didn't we? So, like, tier lists. So I don't like them. I make them because there was a lot of fun to do. I think people put way too much stock in them and in their actual value. And I also think people fundamentally misunderstand what a tier list really rates. This is like maybe a little bit like controversial. So tier lists, I don't think actually rank power at all. What tier lists rank is the ease of play. Instead, right? Here's out. The highest ranked warbands in the game, okay, S tier warbands, are going to be the easiest warbands to play. Okay? As you get lower in that tier list, okay,
Agree.
they get more difficult to play. Not because of power, but because of what they're trying to do is more complex to get to a win state. Okay?
Or it works or it doesn't work.
Yeah. And on top of that, people are more willing to go into an easier warband and make them work, and then go into a more complex warband and find out how to make them work. So there's more example cases of incredibly high-tiered warbands being fantastic because people are more willing to put in the less time to get good with them than actually going down to the bottom tiers and actually finding how to make them work. And that's why they're down there. They might also be bad. Don't get us wrong. However, are people really experimenting and finding out how to make these more complex warbands work? And this isn't just me pulling this out of nowhere. This is actually coming from like looking at like I come from fighting games, video games, right? And typically, this is what happens. The best characters in a fighting game aren't just the best characters, they are also often the easiest to play. The more complex you get, the more difficult it is to make use of your character's strengths, which could be vast. The lower in the tier list there is because people aren't willing to put in the time when you could just do a fast track to victory. And tier lists directly promote that mentality. That's what I'm going to say.
I see where you're coming from. So the only problem with that is that the scale isn't easy to hard, because a warband could be either like a warband that is easy to get results with is easy to get results with, right? There's no two ways about it. But the stuff that falls further down, you don't know if it's difficult to get the results with it, or if it's just garbage.
There's that as well. So, some low tier things are just strip shot.
Yeah. It's like you don't know which one it is, though. But you are disincentivized from finding out. And I say this from my experience with Warrior Chamber. Warrior Chamber can be fantastic. They are really difficult to play and actually like get results with. No one plays them because they aren't that. So as a result, they don't get a lot of results. Like random people might do well here and there. And then you get, at the end of the day, you look at the stats and you go, well, that warband's bad because its win rate is low. But that no, I see your point.
Don't get us wrong. Like some things, like, the very bottom of a tier list is typically right down there because Blades of Corn Demons, awful. Close the Karanak, these are awful warbands. These are not good warbands. There is a mix in here, but for the most part, if you look at a tier list, so I think Dan's tier list put ogres right at the top. Okay, ogres are really powerful. Ogres are also piss easy to play. Like, let's be perfectly honest here, right? It's just raw stats. Let's go smash, and it works. There isn't all that much nuance to them. Interestingly, we think Iron Jaws are really powerful. Iron Jaws were not top tier. Iron Jaws are more difficult to play. Noticeably more difficult to play. They have more nuance in their kit. They're further down. It all makes sense. Those two examples, proven correct.
Here's the thing, right? When you're building a warband, the warband wants to do something, right? And what the warband does is generally a game plan. It's how the warband plays. Yes. And generally speaking, if you're playing constructed, and I like to use the term constructed now over competitive because I like it. If you're playing constructed, you build your warband to do a thing. And it happens to be that the best things in Warcry to do are to run over your opponent, to outweight your opponent. I'm talking about in order that the outcome is to win your game, right? And the easiest ways to do that, the things that you want to do, is either going to outweigh your opponent so you get to dictate the pace of the game. You're going to want to run over your opponent so they just fall apart so you get to dictate the pace of the game and you get to win that way. Or you want to knock models off the board, which is kind of the same as the second one, but there are different ways of doing that. There are like shooting warbands or whatever. And it's about how you get from point A to point B. And I'm not saying like a warband can be S tier, but it might be really difficult to play, like Royal Beast Flayers, for example.
Yes.
That's got a ton of bad matchups. If you don't know what you're doing, you will lose with Royal Beast Flayers. But in my mind, the one build, the really good build that they have, and we talk about Dan's tier list, right? And I totally agree with him on this, is that Beast Flayers, with that build, with a competent player, is a top tier warband. 100%
Absolutely.
is. Doesn't mean it's easy to play, though. It means that to get from point A to point B, where point A is beginning the game and point B is finishing the game, there's a lot of steps involved and there's a whole bunch of things that you have to do. And they happen to have the tools to be able to do that. And anyone who can capitalize on that will win the game.
That's fair.
If we talk about ogres, for example, their game plan is fairly simple. And to get there from point A to point B is fairly straightforward. You can run in, you can slash things, you use overwhelming force to beat your opponent. Same with like Watercorp crossbows. You shoot until you run out of dice, basically. But that doesn't necessarily mean that those warbands are any easier to play. Is that the thing that they are being built for and the thing that you want them to do is more straightforward because they have the tools to do it. So if we take Claws of Karanak, for example, they are a piss easy warband to play. Because they do one thing. You run them forward and you roll dice into your opponent. Does that mean they're good? Absolutely not. Because they don't have efficient models. They don't have the abilities to really be able to maximize what they want to do. All these things come together to make them a bad warband, but that doesn't mean that they're a difficult warband to play. If you just picked up Claws, you run them into your opponent, and that's basically what they do. So there's an element of it's how easy. It's not how easy is the warband to play, but how easy is it to get from point A to point B, where point B is winning the game.
How easy it is to achieve your win condition, right?
Yes, but here's the thing, right? If we go back to Royal Beast Flayers, it's difficult to achieve your win condition, but if you're a sufficiently experienced and skilled player, you make it look easy, right? If someone just picked up that Raw Beast Flayer list, they would fall over because there's all sorts of timing issues and there's all sorts of like, oh, I've got to do this before I do this, before I do that. All that kind of stuff only comes with experience.
Yeah, I think actually speaking of Royal Beast Flayers, actually, I think that list I've ran similar lists to that when I was running them for a little while. Royal Beast Flayers are interesting because they are either completely dominate what the things they match up well against are so dominant that
it's so good. Yeah,
you just can't. If you're even a little bit competent, you will steamroll like no other. But the second they're up against a less favorable matchup, you have to put in so much goddamn fucking work. It's unreal. And there is like no in between. There's no in between on that.
There is a certain point as well where what feeds into that is. I think that on top of player skill, I think that people have preferred playstyles. So
that's very true.
On top of all of that, I'm a decent enough player. I feel like I could never play Royal Beast Flayers properly because it's just not my playstyle as much.
Yeah.
So on top of everything else, there are just some warbands that have play styles that are very niche that people don't particularly like. People prefer having one big smashy thing and running in and doing their thing, right? Formal plus smalls, is or Chimera plus smalls is a really favorable play style, right? But then you have some warbands like I think RBF is like exactly one of those where it's an unusual niche playstyle, and either you have to play it a lot and get a lot of experience with it, and jump in, or you need to be good at it naturally, which is a thing. So
Yeah, that's fair. No, I can see where you're coming from. May have put a bit of a harsh brush to it there. But to be fair though, as well, this is just to clarify, that's not me poo-pooing on high tier warbands at all. Considering that a lot of the warbands I play are high tier, I play Soulbound Gravelords. They're right up there. Vulcan Flameseekers, piss easy to play. They're up there too. They're like A tier, right? Piss easy. Like this is like, you know, it's not me going, oh well, the warbands I play, these are refined and difficult. No, I play unga bunga bullshit all the time. It's one of my preferred ways to play. So it's not that at all. But to refine the point a little bit, like RBF, I think it's a great example. RBF is sort of like the big, it's the Achilles heel of the theory. But RBF, their tools are very powerful. They're very straightforward. Like, having access to such powerful movement tools, like their playstyle, their win condition is potentially difficult to achieve, but the tools they have to do that are very easy to use, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but you also need to build a very specific list with them. They have 3 models, basically, right? They got the Baron, they got the leader,
the ghouls, and the... Yeah,
and
that's
that's it. You're not using the middle guys, are you? Like,
no,
that's all they have.
I've seen people use them. They're fine.
People give a lot of flack to Hunters of Wanchi, right? But they're basically in the same boat. They have the leader, they got Wanchi's claws, and they got maybe one other dude, and that's basically it. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's just one other guy, right? But successful war bands will basically be made of a couple of models. Same as Watercorp Hunters. You're either bringing leader plus all crossbows, or you're bringing leader plus all dogs, or some combination of leader, crossbows, and dogs. Basically, you got the arbalist, but you only bring one. So.
I do think that there's a certain bringing those lists that are only like 2 or 3 different type of models is very much like putting all of your weight behind your team's gimmick. And I do think
it's the best thing they do.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
But if you do happen upon a team that does the exact opposite thing, you're kind of really out of options. Whereas if you were building one box, it's a bit like, it's just skewing, isn't it? If you play the one box, you have more options, especially if you're playing something like Untamed Beasts, right? Because Toast saw that when he was going through his Road to Gold. You add things in, you remove things in, you add and remove options, and you add and remove tools that you can use to get out of a bind. Now, sometimes, you know, the everything goes into the round hole. The square things and the triangle things and the all the different shapes will all go into the round hole really easily. AKA, you know, 47,000 dice rolling with crossbows. But I do think there are other warbands where people try to only play efficient stuff, and it really takes away from the options that you have. Like, for example, the Drill Master in Iron Golems gets dropped almost immediately, but having a reliable source of like 3-inch 6 damage is like, can really help you if you come up against something that you're not expecting. Probably not gonna help you if you're coming up against Gorger Mopak, but against something like more Horde, you'll be happy you had it. So
I think there's a very real risk when it comes to building warbands, is to optimize the warband out of your warband. And this, I think, is most evident when you look at Pyregeists. Pyregeists aren't great. They're somewhere in the bottom, and I would agree with that. They're not as bad as people say they are, and the reason I think people think they are so bad is they optimize the whole warband out of them. So the first thing you do is look at Pyregeists and go, torch wraiths are terrible. I will cut all my torch wraiths. And then the warband doesn't function because you need pyre tokens to, you know, do stuff. Like your whole gimmick is Pyre token. So people, I have never generated a Pyre token in any of my games of Pyregeist. To say, what's your list? Oh, you took out the generators. That's your problem, right? So then your battle trait doesn't work anymore. Then you can't control like space any effectively with the Pyre token placements. All kinds of little things no longer work with Pyregeist. And apply this to a lot of warbands, and people have the tendency to optimize out their warband and remove things that make that warband tick. And basically and this is especially true if you've got cheap chaff. If you have like 60 point chaff, 65 point chaff, what happens? You just get the same list as any other warband running 65 point chaff almost every time. And it's a bit sad. This is nothing to do with tier lists, but it's a sad state of list building, I guess, is that tends to happen a bit too much for my liking.
I will say, speaking of list building, and you talked about the Flame Seekers earlier, I will say I've been desperately trying to make one of their cousins, the Fire Slayers. I've been trying to make a list work, and it's just not happening.
I've got to work a couple of times. I haven't played them competitively.
Yeah.
They're a struggle.
Yeah.
They are a struggle.
It feels like they're just missing a little bit of something, or I'm just not playing something correctly. But just there's a little bit of something missing. Because
the Grimhold Exile, though, when he pops off, though,
when he does, it's great. But it's one of these warbands where, so I don't know if it's the curse of having a tournament come up. I have had about 2 weeks, and there's video evidence of this as well, where I've been rolling straight trash, right?
It was on stream.
And it was on stream.
It was on stream. You got completely bodied because of dice.
No, but that's the thing. It was also in my locals. It was also my local games that I've played over the last 2 weeks. All of the games I've played, I've maybe rolled in the last 2 weeks 3 6s. It is actually embarrassing. So it very much has made me, after 3 Heroes 1 Chaff alumni, not Wild Dice alumni, Rob gave me the excellent advice of just win without dice, silly, which I thought was super useful. Very accurate, but also not what I needed at that time. but he's not wrong. But that's the thing. There are some warbands that are just really difficult to do that with. And
the more elite your warband gets, the harder that becomes, because you need the dice to work a little bit so you can even out the model count. Elite warbands struggle to win without dice. They need the dice more than anyone else.
I'm not
Horde
playing
warbands could never attack again and just fucking waltz through submissions and be completely fine.
Demetrios, on Fire Slayers, right? Again, it comes down to, what do you want your warband? How is your warband going to win the game? You have to make that decision when you build your warband.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you look at Fire Slayers and you say, what do they have? Because Fire Slayers are actually a good warband. And I'll tell you why they're a good warband. It's because it has 65, 70 point, 12 wound chaff with a plus 3-inch move double. That's why they're good. And that's what you need to lean into. If you're trying to force them to do something else, like bring a bunch of mid-range stuff, it's not necessarily going to work. What do they have? They got Auric Hearthguard, which is some great tech pieces to slow down enemy big dudes. So you might want to bring 1 or 2 of those, because that's specific. They're there specifically to slow down your opponent. So you kind of want to play them more like a swarmy warband that uses your movement bonuses to get places and do stuff, right? And that's the thing, because I know how you like to play games, and you like to go, okay, I'm going to run. No, it's just how you like to play. It's your play style. And you like to go, all right, I'm going to go in, I'm going to beat some stuff down in combat, I'm going to do a little bit of stuff around the sides. But if Fire Slayers don't have that in their kit, and they don't, unfortunately, you can't really force them to do something else. So they do have a couple of decent fighters.
It works
Uh,
times. They've got T5 chaff, which is good.
yes.
They've got strength 5 mid range, which if you combine it with the guy that gives +1 to hits and crits.
Yeah, but their mid range isn't good enough. You're paying 100 points for 12 wounds.
Well, yeah, that's true. And that's what I'm finding the problem.
In this format,
Actually,
I'm saying
I
in this format specifically.
Yeah.
I tend to take a couple of them because they're okay in combat. They're not too expensive. You can probably squeeze in one or two. They work well with Gathering of Heroes, so they can get them free moves. They have a Rampage and a Triple, which is fantastic value. They've got high strength. They do okay damage. They can do the killing when you need them to do the killing because those chaff aren't doing shit. Let's be fair.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
don't
Also,
take a
like
bunch of them, take one or two of them.
poor
Pretend to do okay.
Keyblade guy is, bless him, he's trying his hardest. Like the Grimhold Exile,
yeah,
he'll do his triple and then he'll throw 10 dice and something's gonna get through, right? But the Grimhold, I bless him for not the Grimhold, sorry,
Fuel
Grimner. I'll bless him for attacks, and he's still struggling. But yeah,
people legitimately used to bring the Auric Runefather as a thing, as an ally, right? I'm talking about like way back at the beginning of this version of Warcry, right? Because
he's very common.
For 145 points, he's a 3/5/2/5, which is okay, 22 wounds, which is fine. He's got the Gathered Heroes reaction that allows him to move other things around him a little bit faster, and he can generally punch above his weight for the actual points that you're paying. But apart from that, they don't have any extreme combat dudes.
Yeah,
no, it is just Fuel Grimner.
It is just Fuel Grimner,
and he is more expensive than an Annihilator Prime, and is nowhere near as good. Not even close.
Yeah,
poor lad.
Yeah, bless him.
That's it, right? You need to think about what you want the Warband to do, and if the Warband can realistically achieve it.
That battle trait's good. Just pointing out.
It is.
Plus one move is actually really strong. It makes onslaught and rush, for example, like you move 4 inches extra, not just 3 inches extra when you do your little momentum thing. There's all kinds of cool stuff. It's actually a really interesting battle trait that I got a lot of use out of. It makes them a lot faster, surprisingly fast.
Yeah,
more so than you might think.
Well, it gives you so much range because you can just do the double and move a stupid amount across the board. Move 7 inches across the board, and then you can do an attack as well. It's just that if you do that, then that attack isn't going to do much of anything.
Sadly, no.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a little kind of sneak peek into what I'm trying to figure out for the tournament down in Southampton in August.
It'd be good if you managed to pull it out because I think they are considered like decently mid tier, mostly because the chaff are pretty good. I don't think they've been particularly successful though in like actually scoring like big wins.
That's true, but
unfortunate.
But if I'm gonna play dwarves, I do have some painted.
It'd be the first dwarf faction you've ever played.
Stop it. Kharadron are dwarves. They are very, very dwarvy dwarves. They have hammers, they have beards, they have metal beard protectors. So I would argue...
Not just fake beards?
Dwarf doesn't need to protect his beard. Just saying.
Listen, when you spend all of this time like making it look...
Yeah, you'd let it flow free. You're not putting
I don't know.
metal codpiece over your chin, are you?
Do you know how difficult it is to get like blood and gore out of your beard?
Wow.
There is a model you can ask. Literally Gorebeard. But on the other hand, does he actually take the gore off his beard? Given that that's his name.
You assume it's actually a beard and it's not just like entrails that he stuck to his face.
Okay, point taken.
Maybe.
But yeah, I still don't know. I am hovering over a few different options. The easy option is to go back to KO, which is nice. The other options is either to try and make Fire Slayers work, or just hit the big button that says Star Soul Mace, and just
Do it.
bring more Stormcast.
I think you'll be happiest bringing Star Soul Maces.
I mean, I'll be happiest if I win. And
You've been threatening Star Soulmates for a long time. Pull the trigger.
I'm bringing my platonic ideal Skaven list, so that's saying a thing.
okay, yeah, I see that.
It's a good list. It's not the one you're thinking of. It's a good list.
I don't know.
I have
It's
4 rat
Skaven.
ogres.
Ugh,
No, it's not 4 rat ogres. No rat ogres. I don't need rat ogres.
No rat ogres.
that's worse.
Pioneer.
That's so
True
much
pioneer.
worse. That is terrible, actually. Well, there we go. Let's hope my round 1 is in Actan again.
The game, yeah.
Or your round 2's me.
Like if I'm honest to avoid you two, I might get up there.
I've no idea what I'm bringing, by the way. Like, I'm considering bringing, like, Untamed Beasts again. Just dabbling some older stuff and not doing a whole new project for it. But I don't really know. Like, I'm also just contemplating fucking Cypher Loads. Because one guy keeps bringing them. One guy keeps on bringing Cypher Loads to events, and they're beautiful. And it doesn't do particularly well. But, like, he's inspired us to take Cypher Loads again and maybe also join the ranks of not doing particularly well with Cypher Loads. Because they're hard as nails.
Well, you're
And
bringing a
they're not
hell
all
pit,
that
so that's
good.
fine.
I could always bring a Hell Pit. Honestly, right? If Cypher Lords ever got an FAQ and got their points reduced slightly, they could get 7 models into a list plus a Hell Pit, and it would actually be a good list. With 6 models, they're not good enough with the Hell Pit. 1 more model, S tier Warband. Telling you, calling it right now.
Well, I was gonna say your battle trait is that you do pretty well when you're playing bespoke. So
That is unfortunately true. I am the bespoke guy. 1 box bespoke guy too sometimes, just for the shits and giggles, I guess. Case in point, Wheel Cry in its entirety. Just random shit just works.
Something else that we can talk about. I had a very, very interesting conversation the other day.
Okay.
Basically, the comparison is something everyone loves to say that the UK has a softer meta, and
Okay.
like compared to other places, right? You can see it there. You go out to America, you go out to Poland, the lists are noticeably harder.
Okay.
But the distinction that I wanted to make specifically was that it doesn't matter if the meta is softer, because the players are still good. So where this came from is I've seen a noticeable increase in the level of player skill at events in the UK. Right, people are getting better, and it's annoying because it means that I can't bring like fruity shit anymore, and still do fine. So people are legitimately getting better at the game, and that's really good because it means that we all get to play better at the end of the day, which is fantastic. But the conversation that my argument in this conversation is that let's take S tier and A tier out of the picture, for example. No one's playing S tier or A tier lists. If everyone is playing a B tier list, is that a harder or an easier event than where everyone is playing S tier lists?
Okay.
Given that the player skill is, let's say the player skill is the same, and this kind of goes to this conversation that we're having about a 1-box format, right? Is a 1-box format a harder or an easier event to win than a, let's say, S tier format?
Yeah.
Now, I would argue that the reason why competitive TTS League was so hard was not necessarily because the lists were so good, but it was the best players in the world in one room, all in one event.
Yeah.
All playing really good lists. So the level of the lists was the same, but the level of the competition is like up here because people are really, really good. at the game, and they're the people playing in that. So that's basically where my argument was, right? It doesn't matter how good the lists are in an event. What happens is how good the people are. All that the power of the lists does is it changes where the ceiling is in terms of how much damage and how much stuff you can do during a turn.
Yeah.
Toast, do you want to go first?
No, you fire away. I'm still brewing thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and yeah, like obviously it's there is a certain disclaimer that goes in the front and says we are UK players, and of course we don't think that we're worse than US players or Polish players, or Norwegian players or Spanish players, and yeah, it's one of these things where you could make the argument either way, because I mean I broadly agree with you that if everyone's playing with relatively similar stuff, like then it is mostly player skill that outshines.
Right, because you can roll straight sixes and you can win the game that way. But Warcry is a lot more than just the dice that you're rolling. We had this conversation already.
Yeah. No, but I mean, player skill
without rolling dice. Yeah.
I mean, the and we've talked about this before, where the same players are doing similarly, tournament in, tournament out, with wildly different lists, with wildly different power lists, right? And also, you do get lists that come to Warhammer World that are very finely tuned, and they are very spiky and very specific.
It's also a much bigger event than most other places. Like only Poland can put on similar sized events, so you would expect a portion of that player base.
But the thing is, when you see the results, it's not all the tuned lists and then everything else. It's a mix.
Sure.
Which tells you, obviously, some of it has to do with matchups, right? Because, someone might get 4 spiky lists. Someone might get 2 monster warbands back to back, and guess they ruined. Exactly. Someone might get all of their counters, and they're really spiky list just gets to do nothing because they've hit up against exactly the matchups that they hate. But I think the fact that the same people are in the same vicinities regularly, regardless of what they take, tells you that maybe having more tools in your arsenal and playing something that is slightly unusual throws your opponent off. There's that potential there as well.
That's a Dark Horse effect, right? Everyone knows how to fight in a Vexmore. Everyone can beat a Vex. Vexmore is really popular. It's everywhere. Everyone's killed or dealt with 1,000 Vexmores. But have you dealt with some fruity ass bullshit that Off-Meta has conjured from the depths of hell? Probably not. And that's given him a big old advantage.
Have you had to deal with whatever the harpoon guy is from Untamed Beasts? It's strength 5 out of nowhere.
He's great.
Have you had to deal with Ephilim and the teleporting bullshit? That isn't great. Okay, isn't terribly strong, but it is terribly annoying. So there's all these things that are just kind of past what we see as the S tier that you can just kind of throw off your opponent. And I think that's also part of it.
So there's a tendency to get quite defensive if someone was to say this. Oh, well, they're saying that potentially you could interpret as the UK players are worse players. I don't think they're actually saying that at all. But I can see why someone might interpret it that way. I think I would agree with Eitan's assessment that if everyone's playing B tier warbands, C tier warbands, or whatever, the tournament is probably just as difficult as everyone playing S tiers. It kind of balances out, and I don't think it is a reflection on player skill at all, frankly. And I think it's I don't know. It's an interesting conversation to have for sure.
This way, right? If you're going to build for an event and you know what kind of lists are going to be in an event, you build for that event. So if the top players went over to Poland, for example, you go in there building with a very different mindset, where fruity shit isn't going to work, basically. So you have to do something different. And that's really where the crux of my argument is, right? It's how easy an event is to win isn't necessarily just down to how many top tier lists there are. It's like, how well did you prepare for that particular event on that particular day? And if it means that it's a C-tier list event, right, where everyone isn't really playing all sorts of high-powered stuff, then that's just what it is. What does that mean? Is that everyone's shit is going to stick around a lot longer. So it's going to be more difficult to play into objective missions. And your treasure is going to stick around longer. So you need to make different kinds of decisions during your game. You're not going to have that gut lord to just run in, flatten that thing, and then carry on. Yeah. Mid-tier warbands will be able to, not mid-tier warbands, mid-range warbands will basically stick around, and they get to use more of their strength. So maybe that's where you want to go in that kind of power level of event. And of course, in any tier and in any format, there's best things and there's worse things. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's easier or more difficult to actually win the event.
I mean, I was gonna say, if you follow Toast's thinking from the tier lists, right? If you're playing with a B tier list, that means that it's a warband that is more difficult to do what it's supposed to do. So technically, if you're playing into an A or S tier, if you're winning Warhammer World with a B or C tier, it follows logically, right? But it also doesn't, because then I realize that you're playing against B and C tier. So again, it kind of balances it out.
Yeah, unless you're playing like Claws of Karanak and you're winning an event off the back of that. Like, that's
I hate bringing this up because it comes across as ego stroking, and I don't intend this to be that.
Oh, he's about to sniff his farts.
However, I'm not though, right? So, a year and a half ago, a year ago, I played an awful lot of Cypher Lords. Cypher Lords are not a good warband, right? They're pretty low down on the tier list for a reason. They're not that great, but they're also incredibly difficult to play because you've got to really use their teleports and their shenanigans and to the highest to actually not be killed immediately. They're very difficult to play, but despite that, like Cypher Lords can be taken and can do well, as evidenced by the fact that this little D tier warband went up against S tier unnerved current overlords 3 times against some of the best players in the world and won 3-0. Right, like it can happen. It takes work, and where I think the issue with like these warbands really comes into play when it comes to competitive scenes is that I won those 3 warbands weeks apart. After every single game, I was so unbelievably brain drained that like it was just like the hardest thing I'd ever done in Warcry every single time. I could not take Cypher Lords to an event and do that 4 games back to back. At all. I would be dead after game 2. It just wouldn't work that way. Right? Like eventually like these really difficult to play warbands, whilst they might be able to go toe to toe in a very specific scenario in certain missions with certain criteria in place to sort of like, that goes their way a bit, eventually you will run out of brain power. And this is where the S tier warbands, and where again, just to reiterate my point on S tier warbands being often being easy to play, is that because they don't have RBF, notwithstanding, they don't have the brain drain as heavily, right, as something like trying to fucking figure out how to play Ephelim ideally for 4 games back to back and not accidentally fuck up and teleport into your own doom, right?
Yeah.
Like brain drain's real. And brain drain at events is very real. Like you are like, at game 1, you are at the peak. Your prime as a player is game 1. Game 4, you are fucking tuckered out. If you haven't had a massive bowl of pasta, you're fucked. You need to recharge on those carbs at some point. Get the brain going again.
You've literally seen that happen.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
It's
that is
crazy.
totally true that there is something to be said about how difficult Warband is to play and how successful it can be at events.
Yeah.
And it's totally a thing, right? Like, getting tired at events is real. And it's not just like playing 4 random games of Warcry.
No.
That's
And
true.
like TTS League as well is also like is a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful league. It's a great way of seeing what really sticks. But it also is, again, it's 4 games, potentially a whole week apart. You are constantly playing at your prime against people in their prime. You are not playing like, it's the top table. Everyone's like, you've been there for like 8 hours, right? You've driven like 3 hours to get there. You're 8 hours into the event. You are not there anymore. You are on death's door,
Remember?
trying to not fuck up, right?
Yeah. Remember when they did
ATS doesn't have that effect on it at all.
Remember when they did a 5 mission event?
Oh God, yeah,
that?
that was nightmarish.
Oh,
It was
that
5 games.
killed me. Oh.
Yeah, it was. On the 5th game, everyone was just dead. Like there was nothing left in the tank for anyone. It was great.
Yeah, people were just walking
It's a long
around
day
like
to do that. I mean, that's why they do, like, if you're going to run an event over 2 days, it'll be 5 missions, 3 and 2, or like 4 and 3, something like that. If you wanted to do 7.
Yeah, I think as well, like Warband's only half the picture, right? Like mission packs, the stuff you're playing into makes a big difference on what will work and what won't work. And what makes a mission pack, I think, is something that what makes a good mission pack is something that gets asked a lot, actually, in my comment sections. I assume in yours as well, and it's what makes a good mission pack. And I think the danger for I think we see this in Warhammer World's meta. Warhammer World's meta is unique because at the minute there are no treasure missions. This vastly warps the game in a way that is you don't see anywhere else, because treasure missions, as awful as they all are, and they are all awful. I don't care if you think that loot and pillage is good, you're wrong. It's also bad. It's the best of a pile of shit. They're all terrible. But they have a place.
That's not the good treasure mission, by the way. It's Cursed Prize.
That is even worse. And without them, then it directly plays into a different style of play. And we see this a lot. Lists that work at Warhammer World would not work anywhere else, simply because they don't have to deal with treasure missions and the bullshit that comes with that. And then you see that at UK Games Expo. A lot of the people who go to UK Games Expo also go to Warhammer World. UK Games Expo had 3 treasure missions in it, and this knocked everyone out. People had no idea how to play them anymore because they hadn't played them in so long. So people who put the work in, who grinded out treasure missions to get that muscle memory back, did really well, and people who didn't really struggled. And that's, it's a thing. How do you balance a mission pack is very difficult. And I genuinely think that there has to be a good treasure mission one day to actually make people enjoy that fucking mission archetype, because currently they're all the same. They all play the same. There are slight variations, but it ultimately ends up just being, I take the thing and I fuck off. If there's 3, if there's 1, if there's 5, it all boils down to that. You take it, you run away, you hide in a corner, you win. And it's not a fun archetype, but it's also incredibly important to stop just like, we're all Unger now, let's go, right?
Well, I mean, the way to write it, obviously, is you have the treasure, you have points on the board, you pick up the treasure, and you make it so that you only get points from people who carry treasure. As in, from killing. If I have the piece of treasure, the only way I'm getting a point is if that guy with the piece of treasure kills another player.
Force them into bad situations.
And then you can't have like, this is Stoutgrot. He's going to go pick up that treasure piece, and he's going to run away. Okay, but you don't get any points for that. It's basically wasted. So you have to. It's a kill mission in all but name. So you go and you pick up the treasure with your big beefy guy, and you force him to fight. And then you can put other caveats in there saying, oh yeah, well, you get a point for every enemy fighter taken down by one of your fighters with a piece of treasure. But if your treasure carrier gets taken down, your opponent gets 2 points or something. You make it. You penalize your opponent, or you penalize the players for their treasure carriers dying, whilst also making it so that their treasure carriers have to fight in order to score. None of this, end of the game, if you have a point of treasure, you get a point. No, because that just encourages people to run away. And it's a non-game, because everyone picks up their piece of treasure and they run away, and that's basically it. You could have 4 treasure points on the board, and then whoever picks up, that kind of thing. And so you also make it, because you're going to be losing points if the treasure carrier dies, you can say, all right, well, even if I don't have any pieces of treasure, I'm going to get points for going and hunting down opponent treasure carriers, picking up the treasure, and then using that guy to go and fight people. That's the only way to do it, to force an interactive game.
Yeah, I think another way is to put kill zones.
Like the crown of power or something.
Putting kill zones on the board. I mean, if you've got a treasure, if you get too close to a board edge, you instantly fucking die. I think was it War Machine did that, was to prevent people turtling in corners, was to, as the game went on, the kill zone expanded. So it forced people towards the center, forced people into situations they didn't want to be in. Although we saw that in one of the old Warhammer World missions, not in Fortress Nalwood 2. I forgot what it was called now, but it was discussed in where, like, if you were within 3 inches of the board edge, you instantly died. But you also deployed on the board, like on turn 2, and people could just net you there, and then they instantly.
Wasn't that in the White Dwarf? That was one of the White Dwarf missions, right?
It was.
Yeah,
it was. It was wonderful. I won a whole game doing that. I threw 2 nets and netted like 500 points of models on the kill zone and won. That was the end of that.
Disgusting.
It's bullshit. It's not. There is the risk of that happening, I guess.
No, when it comes to treasure missions, I'm in the other. I'm in the other side, and I'm happy to, be proven wrong, but I think
I'll fight you.
That
we'll rack up and have a game right now.
Already, if you have big beefy things, right? The whole point is that they get in combat and they fight and they kill. So I think treasure missions providing a counterbalance where it is viable for someone to run in, pick up the treasure, and be like, doodaloo, and then if you don't have something to project your power, if you don't have something like a teleport or a flying piece or something that will catch up to them, then you came unprepared. And if you don't, and it's reasonable for a warband that doesn't have those tools to suffer in a treasure mission. And I think that's their their goal and their point. The problem is that they come in so rarely, and there are so many treasure missions that are still kind of kill missions, like loot and pillage is a kill mission because you only score at the end.
Yeah.
So you just sit over the treasures and you just duke it out. And it's whoever kills. It's one of my favorite missions to play with 6 Stormcast, because I end up with either anywhere between 4 and 6, because you just put them on those treasure bits, and you're like, okay, pick up treasure, see what happens. So, I think that the function of a treasure mission is to kind of throw things off, and that's why I like Cursed Prize as a mission, because it's a treasure mission that it does the thing that Aitan said. It incentivizes you to take your treasure carrier, have your treasure carrier be a big beefy model, and run that model into everyone so you can explode for a bunch of damage. There's so much more incentive to do that than to pick up the treasure and just run away, when you can get sniped, where you can get teleported on, where you can get intercepted if your opponent has something good. So yeah, I love treasure missions.
My issue with Cursed Prize is that it has the facade of being something different, but it ends up just being a single treasure mission, and nothing changes. So I think with Curse Prize is that, yeah, you could pick it up and run at the enemy and could do some blowing up. The actual way to do it is to pick it up and slowly retreat. Right? They'll run after you. And if they eventually catch you, you blow up, you're still running away. They've still got
you just turtle
have
behind your
the
wall,
onus
right?
to
Like,
then
if
drain
you're-
their
Yes.
life.
If you're playing a
there's all kinds of
historically
things.
good treasure capturing thing, like Dreadblade Harrow, for example, on
Yeah.
Curse Prize, you go, okay, well, I'm here now. Wait, I teleport, and oh no, I'm not
Bye.
moving 10 inches and fly. I'm moving 8 inches and walking. So I just move 16, and I win the game because it doesn't matter how many health I have at the end, as long as I have 1 health, that treasure is mine, and you can't catch
Yeah,
it.
and you can heal and you do damage in AoE if you need to, but you also got a long range like nuke spell that just tanks their health and heals you for it. Like, I think one of the things that people tend to do when they look at that mission is that they feel disincentivized to pick it up, and that's the trap. Is that they don't pick it up because they're scared of the damage. When in actuality, you pick it up and run away. You just do the exact same thing.
I
You
think
treat it
that
as
if you're playing into Wildecor and you pick it up, you've made a mistake.
Well, no,
It's not
because
Arbalest.
let's put it this way, right? You pick up the treasure, you do a move action to move away.
Yep.
Wildecor have to spend at least 1 action to kill you, depending on what they're shooting you with. If it's an Arbalester and it kills you, it's an Arbalester, right? It's going to kill you anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. But that's just another action that Wildecor have to spend in order to take the treasure. So instead of them getting it in 1 action, they have to get it in 2, which is important over the span of the game. And if you survive that turn, that's another action that it wastes, right? So, like, it's I don't think it's a matter of what you're playing. It's more just how the mission plays out. I mean, we're talking about
that's the other thing. Yeah,
mission pack.
Yeah, it very much depends on how you do your movement and your screening and your retreating, doing it in a way where you don't leave space for your opponent to come in and, do the 1-2 with Inspiring Presence or something like that, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way, right? We played that mission at UK Games Expo. My whole plan on that mission is run a pink horror and pick it up. It doesn't matter when the pink horror dies, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of weird things that you can do with horrors because they're their own carries. I was playing against ogres and it didn't matter because my opponent was an ogre, ran in there with the bonus movement, picked up the treasure, and healed for an action every turn because that's what the battle trait does. And then you physically can't do enough damage in order to kill the thing. And it's just, again, get it with your big thing and then effectively run away. I can't run into an ogre to kill it because it's going to smash your bag, right? But I mean, in the context of a battle pack for an event, I think there is space for 1 treasure mission, like how I think there's space for a kill mission and an objective mission. But what you don't want is for an event to be heavily skewed towards one mission type or another, and you don't want missions that feel like they're other missions. So there are a lot of objective missions, for example, that are basically kill missions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and there are a lot of kill missions that are basically objective missions because of the secondaries and how it happens to work out. So you have to make sure that each of the missions in your pack are distinct enough. And that's where I struggled at UK Games Expo because I saw the 8 missions that we were going to play and I thought, all right, there's a pattern here. There's 2.5 treasure missions, there's a bunch of objective missions, and then there's a bunch of kill missions. So I thought, okay, logically speaking, the way it's going to go is that one of these treasure missions will come up, one of the kill missions will come up, and we'll have a couple of objective missions. It just so happened to be that the 2.5 objective treasure missions were the ones that came up, and like the stars didn't align. And I think that's my biggest criticism. I know you ran it, Dimitrios, and I've told you this before.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's my biggest criticism of that event is that it doesn't matter what the rest of the missions were. Yeah. Right? You could have looked at that pack.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Said, there are 6 objective missions. So I'm going to build a warband for objective missions. I'm going to flip the coin, and I'm going to say, all right, 3 out of 4 missions, I'll be fine.
Yeah, no, that is a legitimate criticism, and it is something that I saw the Warcry guys did because they had a weighted system where the order in which these missions are gonna fall in is different, but that doesn't mean that you'll still get a relatively tight like amount, and that's something that I'm happy to take on to future events. Mission packs are hard, man. Like they
Yeah.
are for me at least. So I'm happy to take that on personally. But yeah, I mean, I think
Play Spear Cry, and then they're not a problem anymore. Just saying.
Spear Cry is so much fun. Oh my god! If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. It's just a good time.
Everyone
Suddenly,
wants
all
to
your
donate
low-tier warbands
£15 to
get really
Demetrios.
good.
You can play a Spear Cry event.
oh no, I want to try it at some point, but it's just difficult with when my dog isn't eating things that are poisonous. I have to
Fucking dogs.
plan the next 4 tournaments. So we'll take that. I'll take that pass that I gave to myself. There are tournaments coming up. Should I do it just now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quick overview. What we got, Demetrios? In
Okay.
the UK,
Tournament
anyway,
time.
So,
because-
I mean, in the UK, we have. So July we have Warcry UK presents Road to Defiant Glasgow.
That's this month. Oh shit.
That's in 2 weeks.
Oh god.
Which is it's fine. It's terrifying for me as well. Don't you worry about it. But yeah, no, it's kind of more local. The great thing is we're at Geek Retreat again. Geek Retreat Glasgow. It's right across from Glasgow Central Station. When I say right across, I mean across the street. And it's a wonderful space upstairs, peace and quiet. And we'll be running there. I'm planning to release missions next Friday or this Friday. I had to push that back a little bit for various reasons that we're not going to talk about here. We're going to be running that. Then in August, we've got Road to Defiant Edinburgh. Both of these events, the top space gets a 3-day pass for Tabletop Scotland and gets entry to both the events, both in the Warcry narrative and the competitive. The Edinburgh one will be at Mox in the Hole. It's near Haymarket. It's another lovely space. Both of them are going to be 3 rounds, classic World Cry amenities. I'm going to have the photography booth. I'm going to be trying again for streaming because I think I'll have access to power plugs, which is nice and necessary, it turns out. Both events, 3 rounds. They're starting later in the day, like kind of 11, 12 o'clock to give time to people to travel.
3 rounds, not 4.
3 rounds, not 4. Because
okay.
those are the Road to Defiant, so they are the kind of
yes.
the games to get like interest and get some people some free entries and to drum up support. Then World Cry wise, the next event is Defiant in September, 6th to 7th. We've got Defiant and Defiant of Ash and Memory. If people have been on the subreddit for Warcry, there's a wonderful person called the Serpent Slave who does a lot of like narrative content. I got in touch. They had a really nice narrative pack that I'm going to be running on this Sunday. And then on the Saturday, we've got a 4-round King in the North proper competitive like slugfest. So that's going to be great. Competitive on the Saturday, narrative on the Sunday. The Saturday, I've got to start a bit later, gives people time to go around the event and have a proper look around. Tabletop Scotland, again, this year is right next to the airport, so if anyone from down south wants to come up and try for that title, feel free. And otherwise, the other events in the UK is Storm in the South 2, which is our lovely friends from the Southampton Skirmish Club. And and they are at this point, I'm pretty sure, still sold out. So yeah, I think, are we all going? I think we're all going.
Yeah, 3 of us.
Yeah, I'm good.
Nice. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Really excited for all of it. But yeah, that's a tournament in July, 2 tournaments in August. Because Storm in the South is the 6th. I want to say 6th, 9th of August. Road to Defiant Glasgow is 12th of July. Road to Defiant Edinburgh is 2nd of August. And then in September, we've got 6th and 7th for Defiant and the narrative. And then later in the month, by the time this comes out, there might be stuff on the LGT website for another tournament near the end of September. If it is, we're gonna put the links in the description. And yeah, Warcry
20 minutes away from my house. I do not. I don't need to travel for it.
Interesting. But yeah, no, I was just gonna say worldcry.uk for everything. Links to the events, info, tickets, all of the pictures that I take at events go up there, etc. There's links to the Warcry UK YouTube channel that has all the VODs. I am doing I'll keep that for the end. But yeah, worldcry.uk for all of the tournament stuff.
The tournament season has well and truly kicked off in the UK.
Right. And
it's
you
just
also
months upon months of crazy shit.
And
all gonna be good times.
And chat thought Warcry is dead.
Warcry's dead? How? There's so many events going on across the world, in fact.
Absolutely. No, there's been a decent amount. I mean, me and my co-host Badger are gonna do some analysis on the figures for next time to be a bit more prepared. But it does look like, tournaments are not really slowing down. So
it's a good thing. Hopefully Games Workshop also jump on as well and start putting some events at Warhammer World again. That'd be nice.
I'm sure they will. We get like 3 to 4 a year. They've done 2, and we're only halfway through the year. So I'm sure.
I will
say
they
did them really close together, which I think is part of the issue. Is that they clumped 2 of them within like 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's because we didn't get one in December because the guys are on holiday, if we remember.
Like,
so we're gonna push that.
That's fair.
Yeah, in general, I was gonna say I think they're hiring an events person just now, so that also will have played a part probably. Awesome. So I'll do the closing. Thank you all for staying with us and for listening to our rambles as usual.
Rambles.
So I've been Lord Vilax from Warcry UK. You can find all of my stuff on the various things, VODs and interviews and all kinds of tournament goodness on Warcry UK on YouTube. And I have no idea why I called it YouTube. Also, yeah, as I said before, all of the tournament stuff, tickets, pictures from the events, coverage, and other stuff on worldcry.uk. And yeah, keep an eye out for events. Aitan?
Yes. Yeah, I've been Aitan. You can find me also on the YouTube of Metamusings.
Oh, I'll never live this down.
Go to offmetamusings.com if you want all the stuff. And yeah, I'm about. Come to my Discord. It's cool.
It is cool. Can confirm. We sometimes talk about Lord of the Rings.
Sometimes, every now and again.
Every now and then.
And you get all the Spear Cry updates firsthand, so.
You do. Yeah.
You absolutely do. I guess I've been toast. Hello, you're already here. You can, if you haven't subscribed already, do so now. But pay more attention to these two. Because if you're here, pretty sure you've already subscribed. If not, what the fuck are you doing? Hit the button. But yeah, Hope you had a good time. Ignore half the things I say because I fucking ramble. It's great.
Content's content, eh?
I'm here to kick the hive and see what happens. That's my whole rule.
Oh goodness, we'll see how fun this is when it comes out. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Go in the
listening.
comments.
Or
listening.
That's right.
Or listening.
We
Yes,
are
that's
we're a
very true.
podcast.
Yeah, go in the comments if anything that we said resonated, or you disagree, or you agree, or you have feedback on why Ravage Coast Blues wasn't great. Go in the comments down below and put it in. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Yes.
Bye bye.
See you.
YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube.